What's up? Welcome, and it's another Sunday, and you guys are watching Explain Yourself. My name is Joey Galvez, and I'm here with my pal and my co-host, Benjamin W. Morse. Ben, how's it going, pal?
Pretty good. How you been doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful. Today has been really fun. We've been celebrating my son's 14th birthday, and just like any teenager, they just want to play video games. So everybody literally just brought cards, PS5 cards, and then just I'm like, dude, I wish I like he made out with like $200, dude. Like, holy crap! I wish that I could just be like, I just want gift cards for every birthday, and I want people to give me like $200. But dude, it's been fantastic. It's been a whole lot of fun. Lots of cupcakes, lots of food. I'm stuffed. But man, how are you doing?
Pretty good. We're having a family reunion next week for my wife's side of the family that we're hosting. So we're cleaning up the yard, getting
Wow.
the house in order, doing all that stuff. Busy weekend.
Very cool, very cool. All right, we're gonna talk to you guys a little bit about some of these really cool comics that are out right now. We got our friend Onrie Kompan on here. We're gonna talk to him about War Lion, one of my favorite books, one of my favorite people. So we're gonna pull in Onrie here right now and talk to him a little bit about this stuff. Onrie, welcome to the show.
What's up? I just got off of one live stream and I'm back for another. You can't. You can. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
There you go, man. Yeah, listen, this was last minute, and I'm glad that you said yes because
I appreciate it so much. Thank you both of you guys. Thank you for making.
Somebody had a family emergency and had to back out last minute, so me and Ben were just gonna sit here and talk about random stuff, and then we were like, you know what? I know who would say yes, Onrie. Time.
That's awesome. Yes, you caught me. You caught me at just the right moment.
So we're first. Talk to us a little bit about Warline. Give us the quick pitch. I know you got issue 1 out there, but this one's not issue 1, right? This is like kind of a little side thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not a side thing. It's the second part of the series. So it's actually issue 2, but it's a campaign for both books essentially. And wow, we're very, very close now. This is awesome. We're almost at $3,000. We're $10 away from being at 3K, which is really kind of where I wanted to be by the end of this week.
Very cool.
Because we got 5 days left on this campaign. But Warline is a 3-issue miniseries. Each book is double sized, and
they're pretty hefty.
Yeah, they're hefty books. So each book's 48 pages. That's double the size of your standard comic. The book itself is that my man. He's got issues 1 and 2. Yeah, picked it up at Phoenix. My man. So the book's about an old revolutionary named Warline and his daughter, who are going after the tyrant that destroyed their lives and now controls their city. And like I said, it's a 3-issue miniseries. Issue 2 is really kind of like the Empire Strikes Back of our series, because this is where like all the major plot twists in the story happen. And this is sort of like when I came up with this project, this was the point I wanted to get to in the story. That this was the story that I wanted to tell. And issue 1s are never easy with anything, right? Like when you start an issue 1, getting someone convinced to jump on a new series is always a challenge. But if you can, and I'm very proud of how we did issue 1. Issue 1 is just pulls you in and doesn't let go. Issue 2 is going to be the most emotional gut punch you're going to feel. And I'm really proud of all the artwork, all the storytelling, everything. It just came together very, very well. And the cover's gorgeous. The coloring on this book is wonderful. And everything with this book is very intentional too. So I'm very proud of how we put it together. It's turned out great. And I think right now we're facing sort of the same problem that everybody across the board is facing when it comes to campaigns. Like, there's inflation. There's elections.
Hurdles. Yeah, there's hurdles, man.
There's lots of things, but I'm very proud of how this series has managed to push through during this difficult time. And I've learned so much through this campaign. This has just made me so excited about going back to Kickstarter as a platform. And I know that the best is yet to come with this series. And this is really, nothing will be the same after the second issue. I'm just so proud of how we did it.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous looking book. I mean, you mentioned the colors. That's a real standout. I mean, it's weird because so much of what I see here reminds me of like cool 90s comics like Pit and the Max, in terms of just like a visceral impact that you see right away. The colors have that, but they don't, if you really dig into that, they're not that retro. You somehow manage to, your team has kind of managed to like get that across without really going back and like doing some of those old tricks or really making it dated. So you
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, thanks for saying that, Benjamin. You know, Steve Cannon is the colorist on this. He does By the Horns for Scout, and we've had very deep conversations about the coloring, and he's actually working on the third issue right now. So we'll have issue 3 out by next year. And the thing that I love about Kickstarter is fulfillment, because like once it's done, you know that everybody's going to get their rewards. And what's beautiful about this campaign is everybody is going to get their rewards just as soon as this campaign is done, because we already have the books in hands. The only things that we need to print up are the variants, which aren't going to take very long to print up at all because we're doing everything locally for that. I mean, domestically. So folks are going to have the majority of their rewards sent out within a month. And I'm really excited about that, because I think that's really kind of like how you build on the platform. We've been really focused on our performance at conventions and really distributing at, comic conventions throughout the country. And my output is not strong enough to really get more out there so that I can do like 6 to 8 campaigns a year. But when I do Kickstarter campaigns, I try and make it so that the project is done and I already know it's happening, whether we fund or not, and that folks are going to get their rewards quickly once we do hit that goal.
And I gotta let you guys know that Onrie is like one of the best sellers out there. Like seriously, if you guys have had the chance to see this guy in action, like literally, there's things you can learn just by standing back for like 10 minutes and watching him sell his books. He'll stand in front of his table, and every single person that comes and does a double take, he's not gonna let them walk away without pitching them. So it's absolutely like freaking amazing. Like there was times where I've seen him, like I literally watched people walk back and forth, and he hooked them, and they walk away with not just one book, they walk away with the whole freaking series. And it's freaking awesome to on top of it all, because you got great artwork, you got great interiors. We got our pal Dexter Wee. We've actually used Dexter Wee with some Geek Collective artwork and stuff like that. He did some covers for us for one of the campaigns that we did, and we learned about him from you, because we've been friends for a handful. It's been like 5-6 years now, right?
Yeah,
so
it's been a while now since we've known each other. But yeah. So we've kind of have this little circle of these amazing creators that are doing this stuff, and like the team that you guys have put together is fantastic. Talk a little bit about the team a little bit. Yeah. So thank you so much for bringing attention to Dexter, because I think he's a true rising star in the business. He's been approached by a very big publisher, and he's going to get a shot very soon. He's gonna become a household name within the next couple of years. So part of what I've been racing to do right now is get Warline 3 done while I still have them. And I've done very well with creating a track record of creators who have leveled up their game since working with me. If you look at Giovanni Timpano, who worked on Eason Chin, he's now working for Activision doing all of their Call of Duty comics. That's his full-time gig. And
then I will say that somebody did ask me if I knew somebody with somebody's similar style to this, or something that with these amazing action sequences. And I may have dropped somebody's name that I know, by the name of Benjamin W. Morse.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. We'll have to chat, and we'll have to talk in a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
And our second artist on Easton Chin, who actually came back. So I know what Joey's talking about. So L Gehringer, he goes by the pseudonym L Arnaclius for Yisun Shin. He's currently working for Legendary Comics, which is an offshoot of Legendary Pictures, and he's doing their comics. So Dexter is like next in line. I know he's heading off to do greater things, and he's really fantastic. And the thing that I love so much about working with him is he's really taken the bull by the horn in this, and he's giving me some really dynamic, strong layouts, and really fantastic. We changed colorists with this issue, so we worked with Cody Carvajal on the first issue, and I decided to make a change for issue. I needed to have more communication with the colorist. Cody's phenomenal. He's done a lot of great work, but he's based in South America, and it was kind of hard with communication. So I decided to work with Steve Cannon, who was recommended to me by Robert Nugent, who's the current colorist on Spawn. And I have really enjoyed working with Steve a lot. He's very considerate of everything he does with his layouts. He really thinks about everything. And hang on just a second. There's a fly near my monitor. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. Yeah, I get it. I don't think I got it.
Did we tell you guys this is in 3D? I just wanted to let you guys know.
So these characters look really cool. Can you tell me more about this villain Crisis here? I'm assuming that's his name.
Let me just finish telling. I will get to it. Let me just finish telling you about Steve. So Steve has just been really great, and I've had great communication with him, and and I think he does a really great job of bringing these characters to life, which is why you're looking at this and you're like, oh, I want to hear more about this. And then I've been working with the same letterer for the last 16 years now, Joel Saavedra. He's our regular on Yisun Shin. He's our regular on Moorline. I think he does a phenomenal job. He was actually nominated for a heroic award for his lettering, and just really fantastic guy. And then to bring it all together, we have Chuck Pino, our editor. And honestly, if it wasn't for Chuck, I don't think that we would. I don't think that this would have come together. He helped me out of like a really dark place, because bringing this all back to what you were asking me just now, Benjamin, this story is very personal to me. It's not just another superhero story. I'm taking a note from Tom King in the sense of write what you know. And all of these characters represent an aspect of my life. So what you're looking at here is Crisis, which was a machination of the story's main villain, the tyrant known as the Overseer. He created this thing. And it basically is sort of like talks to COVID. When I was thinking about creating this thing, I was thinking about COVID itself. Get it? Damn it. So I was thinking of COVID in the sense of like how it looked and everything, and this character kind of represented that idea of it couldn't just be like a sphere with spikes coming out. So like, this would be kind of cool to make it look more kind of like an alien type creature. But behind that mask is someone, is an actual human. And we're going to find out who that human is in this second issue. So Ryan is coming face to face, not just with Crisis, but his past. And this is a really big moment for this character, and it's a very emotional moment for him when we find out who's behind that mask. So this is a character who was actually introduced in the first issue, and we saw it briefly. And there's a much deeper story and a deep connection to Moorline specifically. And once you guys find out, who it is, it's pretty emotional.
Cool. I love I just love the look of this character. I do think of the alien from Alien, but you've kind of given it, and I think this is true. I was going to say this about Warline as well. You've taken some things, and I think you've gotten all the color and iconography of superheroes without really giving us like a superhero that's a little cheesy or or a reference to something else. You kind of get the iconic symbolic nature of them with the way you've spotted the colors, the shape of the characters. And I really kind of get that vibe. It's why it reminds me of a lot of older, characters that are sort of like Ghost Rider or Pit. They've got the silhouette that's distinctive. They kind of live within a superhero-ish world, and they have some aspects of that, but they don't they don't look silly. They don't look like they're beholden to any traditional, Superman type of archetype, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean I was trying to get away from that as much as possible. Like for me, Warline was always I don't see him as a superhero. He's a revolutionary. He is sort of like V from V for Vendetta. Like, he's anti-establishment. And when I look at the idea of what a lion is, a lion is a very noble animal, and you could say it's the king of the jungle and all that stuff. But it's also one that has a sense of independence, and he represents the spirit of his people, and what it is to be really be free, to have free will and to pursue that. And he's up against tremendous adversity with someone who has greater technology, who can see everything, and it's like predator versus predator kind of a thing. And I won't lie. I took things from the Predator too. The dreadlocks and everything with the mask, and that really kind of came from the idea of Warline. Came from the idea of I'm getting redundant here, but it initially came to me from Wesley Snipes' Blade, and the idea of like, he was supposed to be the original Black Panther. They were going to make a Black Panther movie in the 90s, and it was going to star him. But he was also essentially like the first superhero. Like, we wouldn't have an MCU if it wasn't for Blade being successful. And so, all these years had passed, and it's like no one kind of remembered him. So I was like, this would be cool if it was like an older Blade, like the same kind of like presence that Blade had. And then I kind of like we added the mask and everything, in order to bring that forward. But I'm really happy with how we did that. And that was where Dexter came in. I think all the 90s influence for this really came from Dexter. I was trying to stay as modern as possible with it, but he really brought that in.
Well, I think that 90s influence is very selectively deployed and really well deployed. It's not overwhelming. I don't look at that and see like, oh, this is kind of, I've seen some other books and the books I really like that have that, like, okay, we're kind of either playing against type or doing an homage to that stuff. I really like that stuff. I don't think anything about the 90s stuff here overwhelms it. I think you just have the good stuff. You've got the energy, you've got the iconic stuff, you've got kind of the separation from some of your superhero tropes. And that's what I think is good. Just look at this piece of art. I always harp on, especially when you're doing the first issue, and I think this is the cover to your first issue. Just you got to have something that's just like, hey, notice me. And this is going to be cool. Stuff's going to happen, and this character looks cool. And that's what I think is really great about the visuals for this, is that you've got something that takes all that energy, but it isn't like, hey, this isn't a throwback project. This isn't retro. This isn't kind of some postmodern commentary on that. You kind of just picked up a lot of things you liked, and I think put that out there in a really cool way. And I think all your images I've seen really reflect that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for saying. I appreciate that.
So tell me a little bit more about, I think this is maybe some stuff that happened in issue 1, but it looks like he has a partner or a sidekick here. Tell me a little bit more about their setup.
So his daughter is really kind of like, I wouldn't say she's a sidekick. She's the heir to his legacy, and she's basically helping him do this last thing, because he's not going to live forever. It's revealed pretty early on in issue 1 that he's dying. He's not, this is his last hurrah kind of a thing. And he is, he wants to give everything to his daughter, everything. He's spent the last number of years training her and teaching her everything that he knows. And it's really kind of like this process for him of learning to really let go and pass on things to her and really let her take control. And issue 2 is very much about the things that he has kept from her. He has kept things from her for a very long time, and she's going to find out everything. And these are secrets that he has done a very good job of keeping from her from the very beginning of, since she was a little girl. And he did all this with good intention, of course, but there's consequences to those secrets, even when there's good intent behind it. And that is going to change their relationship forever onward. It will not be the same after this issue.
Cool. So you mentioned this is the second issue. Obviously, you mentioned you have some other issues, that you're working on for the future. How far do you see this story going?
So we're doing this first run is going to be 3 issues, and then Warline Volume 1 is done. We're going to probably do 3 volumes. That's kind of like my vision right now. I might change that, but there's definitely a sequel in the works, and so we're going to put together 3 runs possibly, and then we're done with the whole series. It'll be finished after that point.
Cool. So it has a definite end. This is not like a kind of a setup for an ongoing that you're gonna just go on forever. I think it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, after this 3rd issue, it's going to feel pretty complete. Like you won't have to come back for the sequel, but you'll want to be back for the sequel once we show you what we're doing with it. And after we're done with that, once we're done telling the story, you'll know it's done, and it'll come to like its conclusion. But this isn't an ongoing thing. This is very limited. It's a special thing, and it's a very personal project to me, and I'm just glad to get it out there into the world. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, and the fact that we got this far is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had one other question just about kind of the story parts of this. What kind of world are we like living in here? Is this kind of a post-apocalyptic future? Is it the future? Where's the location? I kind of get like some science fiction elements here. What kind of like genre does this sort of live within beyond like kind of the superhero-y semi influences?
So honestly, the biggest influence for me is like if you've ever seen the show Mr. Robot, I would say that was like a real big influence for me in terms of like I feel like it's that eerie feeling that kind of kicks in on that show at certain points that I really like, and the character development and the struggles that the main character faces throughout. That kind of stuff is really kind of what inspired me initially. But I wanted to build a very colorful world, like a very dystopian colorful world, which I know doesn't really kind of go together much, but strong use of color, like a lot of the sci-fi stuff that I've read recently, from Matteo Scalero, what was that, Space Bandits, that it had this like cool neon-y type feel for it, and Tokyo Ghosts from Sean Gordon Murphy, things like that were a real big inspiration for me. There was another book called Lady Bird, that was also there too. But like, yeah, that's an excellent example of like some of the more colorful, poppy use of color in the story.
Yeah, it's beautiful splash page there. That's just a really awesome panel. It's a cool looking world. I really love the character designs. I think that a test of any character design is if you could do a silhouette of them and then just leave one color part of them like there, and it's kind of what you've done in your corner box up above, that you could totally get who they are. And I think that's what this character really has. And then it makes everything strong and work. And I think you kind of need that iconic connection to a character to to really tell a good story. You can sort of see them from so many different angles that way. But yeah, this just looks like such an interesting world, and a really interesting character and setup. I can't say enough about how great this looks and how great I think the character designs are. Definitely
Thank you so much.
that I, you know, like I see this, I'm like, yeah, this catches my attention. I want to know more about it. It's very cool. So we're gonna take
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm dying for more fly updates here. I just want to soul.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where I'm like ready to. I don't know how to take this thing down, but anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's cool. We're gonna take a quick break and show a couple other videos here, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the marketing and you know, the crowdfunding aspect of this. So we'll be back in just a little bit. And we had one other message from our friends at Age of Geek.
Click that mouse and warp into All Ages of Geek's website, your ultimate portal to everything geek culture. Here you'll find articles that speak your language, from the latest anime buzz to the coolest tech trends. Our mission? To celebrate geekdom in all its glory. Whether you're a gamer, a comic enthusiast, a 90s kid, or an anime aficionado, we've got something for you. Dive deep into them with All Ages of Geek.
I got it. I killed him.
And it happened off camera.
I got him.
Aren't you supposed to be a writer?
No, I'm a professional flight. I got it. And I owe it all to this special stuff right here, Windex.
Oh, okay.
This is the best thing
Nice.
for killing flies. It works so well because what happens is they get disoriented with it and they can't fly away, and then you can kill them. And we hit $3,000. Yes, you guys rock.
Wow.
That's awesome. I can't believe that happened. This is awesome. Joey, I think you're on mute, dude. I think you wanted to say something.
Oh,
all right, my bad. I said according to my big fat Greek wedding, it works for a lot of other things as well.
Yes, it does. I'm going to be that dad from my big fat Greek wedding for sure. I killed that mofo. He was so disoriented. I'm like, that's what you get for coming. I killed like at least 14 flies this week. I kid you not. And I don't know how they're getting into my house like so quickly.
It's the heat. They come in as soon as the door opens.
yeah. Oh yeah, I have like 3 come in when I go in and out, which I've been doing a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have cats to chase after that.
Well, anyway, we thank you guys for after that amazing update for the fly. But thank you guys for watching those videos for us. We want you guys to head on over to All Ages of Geek and check out all that cool stuff that they got going on, because they are a sponsor of the show. They are also partnering with us on Archetypes issue 2. They did some stuff for issue 1 as well, and they're going to continue to help us elevate your guys' campaigns. So anytime that we have creators that we talk to on the show, and then people that we are actually clients of ours that work with us, we are always we're gonna help you guys get the word out there, because sometimes doing it yourself, the algorithms aren't your friend sometimes anymore. So it's good to get more people around your campaign and pushing it out there and getting other eyes on it where you couldn't break through that algorithm. So we're here to help you a little bit to break through that thing. The one way we're doing that is by helping Shade, which is this is their first campaign. We had Kaylin on last week to talk a little bit about it. It's a cool supernatural spy story. This one's about $866 of $1,500. They're just about over halfway there. About 14 days to go. This one's really gorgeous looking stuff. If you guys like that old school spy universe from like Valiant and stuff, and a little bit of this is tied in, it kind of gives you that vibe. This is really good stuff, so you can definitely going to want to check characters, great villains, great spies, great tech. This one's just all fun. They even played around fun with the way they laid this stuff out with the panels and stuff. So you're definitely going to want to read some of this stuff and back this campaign. But enough of all that. Let's talk a little bit about. Let's actually kick back and ask some questions and learn from Onrie, because Onrie is one of the best top selling people out there, especially at a con. He also runs his live shows every week on the Experience. He also does a handful of other things that it does as well. But he's always selling. It's always about selling. So Henri, at first, before we get into all that stuff and I ask questions, let everybody know what you do on that side of things.
Well, first off, I just want to say that as much of a master as people seem to think I am at conventions, which I don't even accept that. I still
It's true. Don't lie.
Even I have things to learn, and I'll tell you right now, I know people who are better at it than me. I know it, and every single time I talk to people, they're like, no, that's not impossible. It's like, no, it's possible and it's true. There are people who are better at this than I am, and I'm always trying to learn, and I come in with that mentality because you never want to get absorbed in the idea that you're great at something and that there's no, because that's when you stop growing.
Yeah.
And this is especially the case with Kickstarter. This is not a platform I've mastered by any means. If I had mastered this platform, we would be I would have funded on in the first 5 minutes on day one. So this is I still have a lot of room for growth and a lot to learn. And in terms of my sales shows, I think the key to everything in comics is consistency. You have to just constantly keep going. You have a bad day, suck it up, come back to work the next day, and keep going. And no one is flawless in this business where they don't have a moment where they fall down and have to get back up and brush their knees off and keep going forward. So for me with my sales shows, it's like if I take like a week off or 2 weeks off, it's sort of like getting off the treadmill. And then when you get back on, it's like you got to start building that up again, because you're not going to get all those buyers to come back. The key to everything is consistency. You got to get on at a certain time and stay consistent so that people know when they can see online and when you'll be there, and that you become dependable for them. And the most important thing is to be those people's happy place.
And with that said, you guys can find us right here on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter every single Sunday at 10 p.m. EST right here.
Yeah. And again, consistency is the most important thing. And being kind to people. One thing I learned from Jen King, who's, the one of the co-owners of the Experience, and has been a mentor of mine on the dealing front for many years now, is that you are, as a broadcaster, you are people's happy place. People come to watch your shows because they're looking for something to do. And there's so many ways they could be spending their time, but they're choosing to spend that time with you. So make it about them. Make sure that everything you're doing is to make their lives better, whether they're buying stuff from you or not. And the same goes to, and I've applied that philosophy to what happens at cons. I see a lot of creators who get out there and get really discouraged when they get rejected. And I'll tell you right now, for as many sales that I make at a con, I would say I get rejected 3 times that amount. So that just gives you an idea of how much I'm actually pitching. You just got to keep going. It's the war of attrition. You just got to stay in it, and you got to keep pushing. I've been in so many situations where I'm down to the wire, 30 minutes left of a show on a Sunday, and I have 10 books left to sell. And it's just a matter of getting it done. It's not a matter of you don't stop. I'll stop at 5 o'clock when I'm done, or once I sell out, or if sometimes it's not even about selling out, but, you just, you make a decision and you stick to that decision. And the most important thing
And
is
I feel like you can use that with with along with Kickstarter, right? The more consistent you are on Kickstarter, the more or
yeah,
crowdfunding this thing, right? The more consistent that you are fulfilling and putting out a worthwhile product, right? That is going to be consistently great, right? Because you got these great looking books, you got more consistent books, and then this one feels like you upgraded a little bit with some of these different with these covers. The cover stock on the issue 2 is a little bit better, so you get better each time, right? And as you go and you improve on yourself and the things that you do and learn as you go and you implement those things and you learn from your failures and all those things, right? And I feel like if you do that and you be consistent and you continue to learn from it, I think you're going to have some success, right, at some point, if as long as you continue to keep it going, because like you said, there's so many people out there that fail their first kick their crowdfund or their Kickstarter, right, and they stop and they never come back, and that's the worst thing that you can do, right. I beg you, like, to come back, even if it's the same thing, and just drop it down $500, because people will help you and they will back you, and if they see that you're not going to give up and you continue to be consistent and do these things, they're going to see that people are going to see you when you do that stuff.
100%, 100%, and your attitude is 100% of it. Like, I could come at this one of two ways. I could be upset that I didn't hit my goal, or I could be really, really happy that I am where I'm at. There was I do a lot of guided meditations, and there was a really good one that I did this week about bronze metal thinking. And what they did was there was a study that was done on the happiness of a silver medal winner compared to a gold medal winner. And the gold medal winners and the silver medal winners are always the most unhappy because the gold medal winners are always the happiest, sorry, but the silver medal winners are not, because they were so close to winning and they didn't. But the bronze medal winners are usually the most happy because they at least placed, they at least got something, they at least achieved something.
Yeah.
And that's really my mentality with everything when it comes to comics. If we came into it with more of a bronze medal thinking as opposed to we need to go for the gold every single time, then you're not going to appreciate anything. And every single time you come into second place, you can be like, well, I was just that one step closer and I didn't get it. I'm getting screwed over. It's
I'm one step away from success, or I'm one step from failure, right?
Yeah.
Instead of you're like, man, yeah, go ahead, Ben.
I think that kind of thinking is I see what you're saying there, and I think that's conducive to building really good habits, which is important. I think, at least when I started in Kickstarter, I kind of underestimated the importance of consistency, especially if you look at people that are doing really good on this platform now and doing good over and over and over again. It's because they have a lot of campaigns out. They fulfill their campaigns on time. People are comfortable with them. I think that there's less anxiety about, like, am I actually going to get this thing than there was in the early days of Kickstarter when pros were coming over and just cashing in and not doing anything. But I think on the other side of that, there is something that people want that's more akin to going to your comic book shop every week and getting the next issue of a story you've been following at a consistent time frame. I don't think people expect us to be as fast as the monthly schedule with our stories, but they are rewarding people that, okay, this campaign's going to go out. You're going to get it. I'm going to do another one. The next one's going to be coming after that. You're going to get that story continued. You're also going to get to follow that creator's other stuff. So I think there is something to be said for people that just keep showing up and let people know that, hey, this is going to keep happening. You're going to get your stuff. But there is more to come. And there's just a lot more incentive, I think, to keep following creators when you look at it that way.
Yeah, and then hear the feedback of people actually, like, when they get it in hand and they actually see it, the physical copy in their hand, and they're like, holy crap, this thing is way cooler than I thought it was, right? And you're like, that's the coolest thing to hear, right? Because you're like, I spent that time on that, I did all that, and it also inspires you, because now you're like, okay, maybe I can do this again, right? Maybe I can replicate that, because now they're going, I'm going to replicate their happiness. I'm going to replicate my happiness. I'm going to replicate, do this again, right? And then we get inspired to do it again. And I think that's the exact feeling that we need to hold on to. And that's why I was talking to Ben, and I was like, man, maybe one of these days, like if we ever get people that we run out of guests coming on, or people we can't book anybody, maybe we just have an episode where we talk about, the crowdfunding success stories, right? Where we talk about the successful things, because it's easy to talk about the negative things and how you didn't fund, or man, I'm dumb, I really shouldn't have put that tier there, or I shouldn't have put it that. Like, you can look at everything and be like, man, if I would have kept all my tiers just $5 lower, I probably would have funded better, right? Instead of look at the success that you did. You created a campaign, you got 100 people looking at your thing. You didn't fund, but 100 people like what you did.
You can look at yourself and be like, well, I'm no Rob Liefeld, or I'm no Jim Lee, or you're not. And you don't need to be. Yeah. You don't want to be. You want to be you. And here's the thing. I may not be throwing like $24,000 campaigns today, but I'm proud of where I'm at, and I'm proud of where I'm going, because I can tell you right now, Kickstarter is not a measure of where my success begins and ends. It's only the beginning of it. That's why it's called Kickstarter. And I'll tell you right now,
small part, and it's also a small part of your arsenal, right?
Yeah, it's a small. I mean, Joey, you know this. Most of my sales come from conventions anyway. Yeah. So I mean, that's really where. And then I got my sales shows too. You got to diversify as much as possible.
I love that.
And you got to just take one step ahead of one step at a time, because Rome wasn't built in a day. The world at large is distracted by so many things right now. We started this off with that, like we got inflation, we got an election coming up, comic sales are down because of inflation.
The this summer was the biggest of people of tourists. It was the biggest tourist summer that they called it, because everybody was going out there and going on vacation. So 2018 versus 2024, we've had more people going out there, going on vacation, spending a lot more money during the summer than there was 4 years ago in 2020, 2019. So a lot more people are spending there and entertaining themselves elsewhere.
Yeah. And I keep my goals realistic on here. So it's like, all right, if I was going to come on here with the expectation that I was going to raise $10,000 or $11,000 from this campaign, I'd be setting myself up for failure, and that's not what I do. I look at what are my actual costs, the cost of printing. If I can cover that, and I printed up 5,000 copies of Warlion 2. So, and I know I'm going to sell through that. This book is going to sell through everything, and it's going to go back to press. I'm going to keep it going. And those books are always going to be making me money, no matter what, because I'm going to get out there and I'm going to push them. What's great is once this campaign funds, then those books are paid off. It's done. I can now move on and do other things and focus on the next thing that I want to do. And I still have enough books to where I can cover all of my expenses. And actually, no, I don't even have to cover my expenses anymore, other than the fact that, the art and everything. But, the art and all of that stuff will get covered throughout time, and then you're left with a small profit. But like, it doesn't work like that for me. It's always an ongoing thing. And the thing is, too, it's all a matter of perspective and how you see things. If you want to get into business for yourself, doing anything, not just comics publishing or whatever, be ready to be in debt. Being a business owner is all about managing your debt.
Yep. And funneling, they call it a sales funnel for a reason too, right? You funnel through the sales, and then there's something that happens at the bottom, right? And it's got to funnel down towards the bottom. So what happens at the bottom? You gather it all up, and it goes back into the business or back somewhere else. And that's not really business. Owners don't see a profit. They see their product grow or their business grow, and they can and be more consistent, and you put more stuff out. and that's how it is, because it's the once it stops, it all stops and it doesn't come together anymore. I want to talk to you a little bit about how you, some of this technical stuff, and how you calculate these, how, where your goals should be, and how many different tiers that you actually you offer people, and what different price points, how do you come up with all those price points, and understand what is fair for something like this?
Joey, that's a great question. So for me, the key to sales has always been to leave enough meat on the bone for the collector, and the publisher. And if when it comes to reselling, there's the dealer. So you got three parties. The dealer should be making money. I should be making money as the reseller, and the collector should be saving money. And if you can fulfill all those three things, you're good. On the publishing side, it's just two sides, right? Leave enough meat on the bone for yourself and for the collector. And that's really kind of where we went with this. With our variant covers, those are limited edition books, so I'm not going to reprint those. Those are marked up a bit, but we didn't go crazy. I don't want to start selling variants at like $50, unless they're like a foil. But even in the foil, I think we have a foil version of issue 2, which we're doing at just $35. But there's 3 variants for Warline 2. That is one is done by Staniak, the other one is done by Kanan White, and the other one is done by Chris Mann. Those variants, the art itself costs money, so I got to be able to cover that cost plus the printing costs and everything like that. So those have a little bit of a higher
and then printing is going up too.
Yeah, printing's going up too, right? So I'm not going to charge $30, but if I get $20 in, and then I think we have 25 on everything, shipping's baked into the cost. So if you're in the U.S., you're getting free shipping.
Okay.
And, it's done. It's like there's nothing to think about. I'm making my money. You're saving your money. I see a lot of campaigns where they're charging like $10 for shipping and things like that, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if I can save you money, and I know I can do it, I can afford to do that, I'm going to do that for you, because I'd rather get the sale than not have it.
Right.
Having 70% of a watermelon is better than having 100% of a grape.
But you also have to, for people out there who are not sellers, right, on the side, right? Because you being a seller, that automatically tells me that you have a whole setup to be able to print and ship some of these packages, which means you have paper materials, you have that cost money, you have those things on hand, right? You also have all these machines and stuff that actually print things and all that stuff that costs with all that, right? Which, if you're someone like me who doesn't have those kind of side projects that already pay for things like that, you have to kind of think about that side of things too, and be able to say, I have to pay that, or I have to go pay somebody to do this, and that's a part of a cost that you have to do when you're shipping these things out, right? So there's some that makes it easier for you to probably maybe give people free shipping, because those things are already on hand, and maybe because of the volume at which you ship, you're probably getting some wholesale discounts and stuff like that.
I wouldn't say that necessarily, but again, let's just put it this way: I'm not losing money, and
Okay.
if the collector is gaining a bit, then again, everybody comes out ahead. That's what matters,
right? Where I'm getting at is all these things matter, right? All these discounts, all these different things that could possibly be worked into this help others to give you an opportunity to not have shipping on top of it and baked into the cost and stuff like that. So when you're thinking about, if you're a Kickstarter creator or you want to put something out there, you have to think about these things, and you have to beforehand, before you even think about setting up a page, right? Because you have to think about that costs money, right? Everything that you're going to do is going to cost money to be able to do it. And can you do it, and can you sustain it?
Right. That's 100% right.
All right, let's talk a little bit about these price points. Go ahead, Ben. Did you have something?
Oh no, I was just going to say, I think that's something that you really emphasize when we're talking about this, because you've got a lot of experience doing these things, not just selling, but really getting to the nuts and bolts of, what does this cost? How much can I expect to make back on this type of item? I think that's, you kind of describe that in a way that really demonstrates how you're bringing value to your backers because of what you know about this stuff. And I think that's really, really great to convey to people. It's like, hey, I've learned all this stuff, I've got it down, and here's how it's going to benefit you. It's definitely another tier of, something of value you can get to backers. And I think that's it's really awesome to hear that emphasized.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
So I wanted to ask a question here.
Yeah.
We got this picture up here on the screen of two slabbed books. So
Yep.
I don't listen. I know that we say that crowdfunding and things that should be kind of like this premium kind of offering, right? And yeah, you might be spending $10 on a cover or $15 on a cover or something like that, depending on who you're backing, right? But I haven't really seen a lot of people selling slabbed books. How are these doing? Are they doing well?
Well, there's only one of each, and so far no one has claimed them. So I guess this would be the time to advertise them. But these books are these are very rare editions of issue 1. The one that's on the left has a print run of only 70 copies, and the one on the right, the black, white, and red, only has a print run of 30 copies. It's also triple signed by me, the editor, Chuck Pino, and the artist of that cover, who's based in Israel and was in town for just one convention. He hasn't done a convention in over a year now. So those books are very, very limited. There's only one of each. And, we had I think 5 of each last year, and this is all that remains of each one. So I'm hoping we can get these we can sell these off through this campaign, and I'm completely out of those out of the black, white, red, and the raw format. So I don't have any more of those books. Once that slab is gone, I don't even have one for my archives. It's just there's so many things of this book. I
love that cover. It's got such a great Denise Cowan, Claus Janson vibe to it.
Oh man, and the way that cover came together was just ridiculous. So the artist was reaching out to me. He's like, "I want to work with you. Here's my price." Cool. I'm like, it was Frank Guzan, and he's done stuff for Image, and I'm like,
oh, wow.
Frank, I love your work. I can't afford you right now. I'd love to hire you. He's like, no, but you don't understand. I need an exclusive for C2E2. How about we do this? How about I do the cover, and then you just print up the books, and then we'll sell them at a premium. I'm like, okay. Now we're talking. All right, fine.
Yeah,
I'll put the money down on the print run, and I'll give you copies to sell, and I'll make my money on that. And it worked.
Wow.
We got books signed and slabbed at C2E2, and it sold. This was from C2E2 last year, and a lot of them sold. Like I said, I'm just down to those 2 slabs, and that's it. I have a few of the color ones left, but that's it. All these books will sell over time. And Kickstarter is really the best place to put it up there. And this is the time to get it. It's not like you can just catch me at any point or go online and buy this. It's a very rare thing. So it's a special item. It's just like buying original art, which we have for sale too. We also have some original art from Dexter as well.
Yeah, because Dexter works traditionally, doesn't he?
Yeah, he works traditionally. So he's going to be sending us. We've sold 1 piece of original art on the campaign. That's the alternative cover for issue 1, the image at the top left, and then we put up 2 pages from issue 1, and then 2 pages from issue 2. And so far, those pieces of original art are still available, and I have a feeling they won't be after this campaign. The last time we put up original art, all of it sold off.
Yeah, people love original art, man. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's coming to you from the Philippines. So Dexter's going to send all this stuff over, and it looks gorgeous. I have some original art from him for the book as well, and I mean it's on big 11x17 boards. It just looks absolutely beautiful.
Wow, very cool.
I wanted to touch on something for artists, and I guess this applies to anybody creative who's trying to get some freelance work that you mentioned. That artist just reached out to you and said, hey, man, I want to make this happen. That's really important to do. And I found it's really tough for artists to think to do that. They oh, people should talk to me. I just want to get noticed. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to people that you want to work with. Obviously be polite,
Yeah.
be professional, but let that be known. If you want to work with somebody, if you want a certain project, you want to work on a certain character, you can just do that. I've known so many artists who I've talked to who are just really need to get permission of some kind from someone before they can kind of reach out and do something like that. And that's a huge mistake. So I think that what your artist did there is a great example for other people to notice.
Very cool.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You guys are absolutely fantastic. I appreciate all the attention you guys have given me this last hour with this campaign. I feel so spoiled.
Thanks for being here.
It's about to come to end because we're about to close out the show.
Just when I was starting to enjoy myself.
I know, and I'm hugging your heart, and then I rip it right out, right?
Yeah,
the rug comes out. Yeah.
So no, well, at the end of the show, we usually talk a little bit about some other campaigns that we are promoting and helping out. So right now we want to talk a little bit about, we're going to take a weird shift, not a weird shift, but we're going to talk a little bit about some plushies. I know you like some plushies, right? You like to cuddle with some plushies at night, Onrie, right?
Of course.
We're going to talk about our pal Robert Motari. You know Rob, right?
I was just on the air with him.
Yeah, he's got a really cool plushie that's going on, and with a really, really cool children's board book. I've got one of the plushies of my own, but this time around I got the voodoo one last time. This time around he's actually going to be selling a new addition to it. We're going to be getting it's the werewolf that before he turns into the voodoo. That one's called Wolfpack Pups, and it's going to be it's live now, so make sure you guys are checking that one out. And then our friend over at Shade, we talked to him a little bit about that. Talked to him last week, and we talked about that on the show here a little bit. So make sure you guys are heading over to geekcollective.net/shade and checking that one out. This one seriously. When Ben told me that, he's like, this one reminds me of like the Valiant verse, and I was like, dude, I totally see that. Like Ninjak, I see it. So like, if you guys love some old school Valiant stuff, like this is literally the one that you're gonna want to check out. And if you can spare some cash, back this one, because it's freaking gorgeous. The colors are amazing. The characters are really cool. That's cool. And then Ben, you've got something live right now, right?
I do. Let me bring that up. Hold on a second. So you can head over to my Linktree. That's August Comic at Linktree, and you can check out any of the campaigns or things I've got going. You can see my comics that have been published through Red 5. You can check them out at Global Comics. And especially you can check out the Kickstarter for August Purgatory Underground, which is live right now. This is I offered this campaign with a different platform last year, but wanted to bring it to the larger platform that Kickstarter has. It's a science fiction book that draws upon a lot of like 80s references. So if you're a fan of Star Wars, Transformers, He-Man, G.I. Joe, any of that stuff, you're really going to like this book. It's kind of attempting to be something that feels nostalgic but has the freshness of something that you're checking out for the first time. So if you're a fan of any of those things, definitely check this one out.
I just backed it right now.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Of course.
And before we go, we want to make sure that we remind you guys that this last one, all you got to do is hit notify me on launch, and it's actually Archetypes issue 2. I don't know if you guys saw that, but in the beginning of the year we did Archetypes issue 1, where we had Ben, our fantastic co-host Ben, did a really gorgeous looking homage cover, and it's this one I got here in the background, but we also got this one here. This is our embossed cover. We have a really cool print partner that does these really awesome embossed covers based out of Arizona. Actually, Onrie actually introduced me to them. That's how I did. Steven did this one for us. He printed our books. Steven.
Oh, Steven, yeah. Okay, yes. Yeah. He's great. I love him. Yes.
And so,
he does all my variant printing for me. Great guy.
Yeah, great people, great looking books. They did this embossed cover for us. And if you can tell, there's all the letters up here are embossed. There's texturizing here on the body of our La Llorona there. this is Archetypes issue 1. If you guys want to grab one of these, you guys can head on over to our social media and just as a message, we'll get you guys one of these issues, and then we'll send it out to you. But we're going to be running it back, and we're going to be doing issue 2, which we have all kinds of really gorgeous stuff. We got some stories from our buddy Wesley Gift. We got Jonathan Hedrick is going to do some story in this one. We got some articles of one of our friends are going to be talking about the existential universe of James Tynion and all that good stuff. So it's a spooky issue because we're gonna be dropping it in October during Halloween. So you're definitely gonna want to check this one out. This one's gonna be a really hefty book too. I feel like the last time around we had 40 pages. We're hovering around 50 pages right now. So once we get into the 60, 70, 80 territory, we're probably going to move from saddle back to saddle stitch to perfect bound. So make sure that you guys are checking this one out. And if there's anybody out there who would still like to contribute to this, please let us know. Reach out to us at info@geekcollective.net, and we will reach back out to you. Please send us some of your pitches. We're looking for articles, artwork, short stories, short comics, whatever you got that is geeky and spooky. Send it to us, and we'll take a look at it, and we'll see if we can print it in our book. So check it out. We're gonna be doing this really cool stuff every year. We're gonna try to do it once or twice a year. We're gonna try to run an issue 3 in February, and we're gonna just do this really fun stuff because what we do is we want everybody to make sure that when you read this magazine, it actually helps you create as well, because we're giving you tools inside there. We have people writing articles that are going to help you get to your first draft of your comic. This next time we're going to be having one of our friends, do the same person that did the article last time, talk about getting to your getting your script out, and so it's like a really cool tool that you guys can grab and use this as like one of your like tools in your tool belt to freaking write a comic book, everything in between. So that's what we're trying to do with this thing. So I really hope you guys enjoy this. It's our own tip of the hat to like a Wizard magazine, but with like comics and articles and journalism put together and fun little old school punk rock kind of stuff style. So check it out. Head on over to geekcollective.net/archetypes2 and hit notify me on launch, and then we're gonna run that one in October, and we're gonna put out all kinds of fun stuff. And we got anything else, Ben?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I don't think there's much. We got a bunch of other friends doing stuff right now, so just keep an eye on us at Geek Collective on all over social media. Just find us Geek Collective, and you'll find me at Joey Gowers 1984. Ben, where can they find you?
You can find me at Twitter at Benjamin W. Morse, and you can find me on YouTube as Benjamin Morse, comic book artist.
And Onrie, where's the best place that everybody can find you?
Facebook, always Facebook. Just friend me on Facebook, Onrie Kompan, or you can go to Twitter at @okompan or Instagram, same name @okompan. Find me there.
Fantastic. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and watching the show. We'll see you guys around here next time. Ben, hit that show.